And when we mentioned at the beginning about hypnotism, Srila Guru Maharaj, when he's explaining subjective evolution of consciousness, often will use the example of hypnotism. Or even if we want to give a concrete example, because he's saying, as a hypnotist compels you to see, that's what you see. That's the principle. When it's mentioned with regard to Mahaprabhu's withdrawing from this plane, that some saw him say something and enter Jagannath. Some saw him go into Tota Gopinath. Some saw him walk across the sea. Some saw him go up in the sky. Some saw something else. Although Saraswati Thakur favored a particular explanation, Guru Maharaj said, they're all possible. He's showing differently to different people. So, just like the sloka, Malanam Ashinirninam Nadabara Srinam Smarum Murtiman, when Krishna enters the arena of Kamsa. And that one Krishna is seen from 10 different perspectives. Right? So, what Guru Maharaj is normally saying, repeatedly, is do not take Krishna to be an object, taking yourself to be a subject. Don't take Krishna to be an object of your experience, the way we experience things here as subjects. Like sometimes you would say, Krishna is not a sweet ball that you can devour. Right? We take a sweet ball, throw the whole thing in your mouth. Like, he said, you can't, that's not Krishna. Krishna, what is he? Amrita Sindhu, an ocean. You don't have the capacity to relish the infinite ocean of rasa. Srimati Radharani does that. That's her occupation. Mahabhav Swarupini Radha Thakurani. So, repeat. So, and across the board, so Guru Maharaj is saying, don't take the holy name of Krishna to be an objective experience. Namakar Bahiroy Bata Nama Kabunoi. Jagadananda Panda. It's never just the externals of the sound. It's the quality of the sound. Vaikuntha Nama Grahanam. Does it have any spiritual quality or not? Not that it's literally these symbols, Krishna, Krishna. That can be, a parrot can say Krishna. Right? A tape recorder can say Krishna. Right? You can make a digital, a voice synthesizer say Krishna. Right? Nama Karma, it's not that. It's the Vaikuntha Nama Grahanam. Does it have a spiritual quality to the sound? Right? Again, now that's saying not the objective aspect, the subjective. Now subjective means spiritual. Right? So once we, the deity is not an object to be seen. What is Saraswati Thakur saying? Your eye exercise. What is your capacity to see the deity? But the deity as a subjective agent can see you as an object. So when we understand there's the subjective world, means the soul plane. There's Atma, Paramatma, the Paramatma world. Then you go in the Adhokshaja realm, means the super subjective world. And the Aprakrita realm of Krishna, the super subjective realm. So, first, in Bhagavad Gita, Indriyani Pranyahur Indriyebhya Param Manaha. Manasastu Prabhudhe Yo Budhe Paratastu Sa. There it's saying, the objects of sense experience, the senses are superior to that. More refined, higher. Higher than the senses is the mind, the seat of sense experience. Higher, more refined than the mind is the intellect, discriminating factor. More refined, Atma. It's the beginning of the subjective world. Atma, accompanied by Paramatma. Now the Paramatma world, the spiritual world. So, Srila Guru Maharaj mentions in Subjective Evolution of Consciousness, it's not that the soul can just go from the Chit Jagat to the Achit Jagat, the spiritually conscious world to the mundane plane. He said there has to be some interim stage, Chidabhas, Chayabhas, a shadow representation of the Chit subject, Jiva. What's the shadow representation? Ahankar, buddhi, intellect, mind, senses, body. That's the shadow representation of the self. So the flaw of Prakriti Sahajaism is to try and reconfigure the mundane to achieve the spiritual. Right? Neuro-linguistic programming. Right? Then you'll wake up spiritually realized. That's their idea, actually. Or the Stanislavski method. Pretend you're this, that, or the other thing. Imitate, act. Right? So, Bhumirapo analo bayu kamano buddhirevacha ahankara ityame bina prakritirastadha. These are prakriti, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. They're mundane elements. Apareyam itastanyam prakritim vidime param. But there's a paraprakriti, a superior one, jiva bhuta mahabaho, yaedam daryate jagat. That's the driving force of everything here. Atma, Paramatma. Right? So, from within this objective world, you can take jivas as atomic chit subjects. But he's cautioning that atomic chit subject, jiva, do not take Krishna, the form of Krishna, the Nam, Takshri Krishna Namadi Nabhavyed Grahyam Indriye, the name of Krishna, the form of Krishna, the qualities of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, to be like of the substance of the objective world. That's what he's saying. So realize, if you are a chit subject, then andantarastam paramanuchayantarastam, and Paramatma is accompanying Jivatma, then Jiva's above this plane, paraprakriti. Right? And that means in the intersection above the mundane, where the spiritual and mundane intersect, and through cultivation can go deep into reality, the reality, Jive Swarupai Krishna Nityadas. And Krishna Bhakti Nitya Siddha Sadhya Kabunoi. What's really in Jiva can come out Shravanadi Shuddhachite Koroye Udoi, by hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, remembering Krishna, serving, can awaken one's inner serving tendencies, which are the units of construction of the Swarup of Jiva. So, objective world, subjective world. Super subjective world, and the subjective world, the aprakrita lila of Krishna. Krishnara jateka kela sarvatam nara lila nara vapu tahara swarup Gopavesh, Venukar, Navakishore, Natabar, Nar Lilahoy, Anurup. At a distance, Narada saw Brahmajyoti, spiritual light. As he got closer, Abhyantare, Rupam, Shyamasundar, but go deeper, dive deep into reality. Within, there's so many gems to be mined. From that, then going deeper, he's seeing more differentiation until at last the form of Krishna. Yam Shyama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam. The inconceivable form of Krishna that is human-like, that serves as the template for human civilization. Like the Bible, man is made in the image and likeness of God. And what about woman? Woman is also made in the image and likeness of God. Then we have to go beyond a partial representation of divinity to Krishna conception. Radha, Bhagavan, Lakshmi Narayan, Sita Ram, Rukmini, Dwarkanath, Radha Govinda, Radha Krishna. The Supreme worshipped and the Supreme worshipper. But the worshipper is not worshiping what is objective, but the subjective aspect upon which the whole objective world is based anyway. It's only perception. Einstein says, reality is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. He means what's conventionally conceived, the objective world, that reality. He rightly said, it's an illusion. He's right. What we take to be reality here is an illusion. And what people think is fictitious is reality. Hell. Like the Life of Pi movie, where the man says, I'm going to tell you a story that will make you believe in God. Then he tells this, for the sake of this conversation, I'm saying, an inconceivable story. He tells this to Japanese insurance agents who are saying, that's unbelievable. You'll never get any money for that. Because what if I tell you a story that's believable? Yes. Then he tells believable story. And they say, oh, we could give something for that. But then the man says, but of the two stories I told you, which do you prefer? And they go, we prefer the unbelievable one. That's what he meant. The story of God is inconceivable. The story of science, of rational, appears to be believable to the so-called rational mind. But the story of God is inconceivable. Of the two, we prefer the inconceivable story of God to the rational, so-called rational narrative of secular humanist and atheistic science. As Mr. Nietzsche says, there are no facts, there are only interpretations. We prefer this interpretation. If the greatest production of men is imaginative literature, then you'll find no greater imaginative literature than what has been delivered by the rishis. The only difference is it's not a product a product of their imagination. Jnaninas tattvadarshina. Darshan, darshi, drishtva, drishi, rishi. Gurmar says, it doesn't say sarshti, creator. They didn't create, Vyas didn't create anything, Veda Vyas. Even when they compose, what is Kaviraj Goswami saying? Some higher power is moving my hand. Madan Mohan is compelling me to say these things. We told the other day, Govinda Basya. Govinda is saying these things. Ramananda, the Mahaprabhu, I'm like an instrument that you're playing. You're praising the music, but you're playing the instrument. Like that. And that is not it is not to the detriment of the instrument, but that is the instrument's full potential for self-expression being realized. Humility is not the outcome of low self-esteem. It's the outcome of the perceived proximity of greatness, or greatness to the infinite degree. Thereby making one a superconductor. Zero resistance to current. Zero resistance to divine current, to divine flow, without mixing anything. Kaivalya. Gurmar said that is what it means. Kaivalya prayojanam. Ekat atma prayoja, in the end of the Bhagavatam. It says, Mayavadis are rejoicing. See, it says Pariksit Maharaj merged into the one. You know? You think, yes, that one, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti. He talked about it in the beginning of the book. What is that? Advaya, Gyan, that one. Right? Saraswati, Krishna alone is not the supreme absolute truth. Radha and Krishna are the supreme absolute truth. Krishna is not a lonely God. No friends. No equals, no superiors. Probably there. A devotee can become greater than God. What? Yashodava Mahabhaga. Papo Yasya Stanam Hari. Raghupati Upadhyay. What did Nanda do? That he's got the object of meditation of the yogis and jnanis is crawling in his courtyard. And Yashoda, that he is the supreme absolute truth, was described in the Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, is sitting on her lap, sucking her breast. He's saying, forget everything else. That's his Shrutim, Apare Shmitim Atari, Bharatamanye, Baba. That's sloka. He's saying, forget all these other things. Think of this. Ahangi hanandam bande yasyalande param brahma. And Mahaprabhu liked this very much. Interesting. You don't see Mahaprabhu getting all excited about general descriptions of the infinite. He's using them if he has to talk to Prakasananda or someone like that. And what does he tell him? where you see the word Brahma, Brahma Shabde, Bhagawan. That's the key. You get confused? Where it says Brahma, we learned that on like day one when we joined Krishna consciousness. You get confused, honey? Where it says Brahma, insert Krishna. Then you'll understand. But what Raghupati Upadhyaya is saying, Mahaprabhu likes very much. Ooh, that's really beautiful. Can you say something more? He said, I could, but I don't think anybody would believe me. And I don't think there's any, there's more to be said, but there's no one qualified to hear it. And if there were, I don't think they would believe it. That's his answer. That's our answer. That's still our answer. There's no one qualified to hear it, including ourselves. And even after you hear it, you can't believe it. But if despite all of that, you're mysteriously, irresistibly compelled to pursue it, welcome to the Krishna consciousness movement. Kam pratikatai tamise samprati koba pratitimayatu gopati tanaya kunje gopa viduti vitang brahma. And that Gurudev could use that, what others are not qualified to hear or can't believe. Srila Govinda Maharaj, this is so him and a part of him and his realization and understanding of things that it just comes to his mind in another context and he uses it in a novel way. That is genius. That he could take that and apply. It shows, actually consistently, this is the type of genius he shows. It always has a little element of sweet amusement to it. It's so clever that it will put a smile on your face and enlighten you and liberate you at the same time. Have a nice day. Babaji Maharaj jumped up saying, Hare Krishna, like goal. Like he knew when he just heard the first words, Kam pratikatai tami, saying, Hare Krishna, like this is unbelievable that he's quoting this sloka in this context. And who can I tell? Who would believe me? Vikreditam brajabaduidam jabishnu sradhan vito anushranaya databarna yedya. Only faith. It's very interesting, Krishna consciousness. You cannot capture it with your intellect. Jnane prayasamudapasanamateva. Can't get it. 2 fingers too short. Dviyangula. You'll always be 2 fingers too short. There'll always be, just can't understand this one part. Won't connect. That's the intellect falling short. The bee trying to taste the honey, but the glass doesn't see that it's the glass barrier. The glass barrier of curiosity, intellect, the need to know. Guru said, just as karma, it's clear karma has to be given up. He's saying curiosity has to be given up too. Gyan, the desire to know. Anyone who wants to know is too suspicious, that's not good. You want to immigrate to some country. If, say someone wanted to immigrate to Russia. Right? You laugh. Once I was given a lecture in Kiev. It was on the 1500th anniversary of Kiev. And there was this government agent at the lecture. And then he wanted to see my passport. And then all the people were saying, what are you, they were chastising him. And then he was trying to give an excuse for why he was doing this. He said, well, you know, there's so many people trying to enter this country illegally. And everyone said, so an American is trying to enter the Ukraine illegally. But if you did want to become a Russian citizen, you're from another, and from the very beginning, you say, I'm very fascinated by the FSB, the KGB. They'll say, you're just a beginner. Why do you want to know those things? Why do you want to know confidential, secret things? And you know, and you haven't even filled out an application. So Guru Maharaj says, passport is not enough. You need a visa, but don't even have a visa proper for entry into the spiritual world, but need to know all the intricate secrets of Krishna conception. The Guru Maharaj said, in this world, men and women are more discreet about their activities. And you want to know about this, that, and the other thing, about divinity. That's not going to be looked upon favorably in your visa application. You're granted a visa when it's been determined by the country you're seeking admission that it's in their interest to bring you in. We already know you have some interest. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Like, good for you. But it has to be in their interest to bring you in. They're looking for servitors. They're not looking for bead counters. Guru Maharaj said, you don't see pictures of Braja Gopis chanting on Japamala. But you see pictures of them like churning butter. Bande Nanda Brajastrinam Padarenum Abhikshnasa Yasam Harikatod Gitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam. And when they're doing that, they're singing about Krishna. And it's purifying everywhere. Everywhere that has the ears to hear. That's not an objective thing. Bhavam Budhir Vatsa Parampadam. How does the Bhava Sindhu, the ocean of nescience, ignorance, misconception, become reduced to the amount of water left in the hoof print of a calf? In other words, how does an ocean become like a drop? Perspective, a change of perspective, sambandha, abhideya, prayojan. Reconceiving. Then the distortion, like lens distortion, the distortion is gone. And it's seen in its proper perspective. It's something very small, easily crossed over. Mayame tam tarantite. Mamevaye prapadyante. That's why Guru Maharaj said, prapana. That's the only way you can understand Krishna consciousness, is through surrender, which means self-giving. Sacrificing your intellect, your activity, kai monobhakka, body, mind, words, everything you got. Walking on the beach in Puri, Guru Maharaj and some Gaudiya Mata Bodhis, one man joined the group and he's saying, so, you're saying, you become Sharanagata, surrendered soul, and then you get it? Yeah. He said, I'm such a Sharanagata. If you tell me right now to jump in the ocean, I'm ready to do that. Give your command. Madhava Maharaj and the others, they looked at Guru Maharaj like, Guru Maharaj turned to the man and said, that is the opposite of Sharanagata. You're ready to do this ego. I'm ready to sacrifice. Right? He said, that is the opposite. He said, the Sharanagata, the actual surrendered devotee, thinks himself unfit, unqualified. Yogyata vichari kichu nahi pai. Tomara korunsar. He's thinking, only by the grace of Guru and Vaishnav do I have any prospect. Tomar kripa. How are you? You know. By your mercy, I may be okay. Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu. So he said, the real devotee, they'll think, I can't. Radharani herself says that. I have this reputation being the greatest devotee of Krishna. It's such a shame because it's not true. I couldn't fully give myself to Krishna. He's so wonderful, so great. And I couldn't reciprocate properly. Durdevam, that's my misfortune. Compounded that everyone will say I have devotion. No prema gandasti dharapi mehoro. The key of measurement of substance is inversion.